Hi guys, I'm Exactchaos and welcome to a brand new review video for Endzone, A World Apart, the brand new post-apocalyptic survival game. We will specifically be looking at whether this is something you should buy now that it's just released on Steam. Okay, but before we get into it, just wanted to notify you that we have a community Discord, and if there was anything that I missed in this review and you wanted to ask some questions, please join the Discord. Link is in the description down below, where you will be able to ask me those questions, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. I've had a number of hours in this game, and so I should be able to give you a little bit of a heads up if there's some specifics that you are after that's not covered in this video. So, Endzone, A World Apart, a city builder slash colony builder game, is kind of what I like to call it, because we're actually trying to keep a colony surviving, is based in a post-apocalyptic world. Basically, 150 or so years ago, from here, terrorists has blown up a number of nuclear power plants, and a few lucky survivors went into underground bunkers or something like that, and they've survived. And now, 150 years later, well, after the terrorist attacks, they're trying to re-inhabit the surface of the Earth. Okay, and that is basically the thing. But the environment is extremely hostile. So you've got radiation, you've got severe droughts, massive climate activity, kind of sandstorms, all kinds of stuff that's going to keep you keep you from surviving, basically. So this game has been developed by Gently Mad Games and published by Assemble Entertainment. And I think that backstory is really something great. So I do like what they've done with it. Okay, so the task is surviving, and you need to meet the needs of your settlers in order to do so. So as you can see over here on the top, you've got like health, and you've got confidence, and you've got level of radiation of all settlers. So your settlers become irradiated. So those are the kind of basic needs that you need to survive. So you do the basic things that you would expect. So you kind of collect food and resources and so on. But there are a few others that is a little bit different in this game, and one that you don't see that some that you don't see that often, like water. You don't necessarily always do the water collection. Some games do, but rarely. So you do definitely do water. Water is a big thing in this game. And then there's all kinds of other stuff like collecting scrap and going through that and finding old electronics. So as you can see at the top here, we've got water, food, wood, scrap, and then you've got tools and protective gear and pharmaceuticals, or kind of all healthcare stuff. You've got cloth, you've got metal, you've got plastic, you've got electronics, and you've got coal. And basically, plastics and cloth and metals and electronics, and you get from kind of searching through scrap. So it's like you break some of your components down into others. Oh, and from wood you get charcoal and that kind of thing. So it's got some level of complex resource chain. So that's an interesting part of it. Okay, so you have to provide shelter and infrastructure. As you can see over here, we've got lots of little, it's like almost shanty town like little houses everywhere, made of, as you can probably guess, scrap and bits of wood. And you've got the infrastructure. As you can see, we've got the electronics and so on. Just like in the real world, if people don't have their electricity and their Wi-Fi, kidding about the Wi-Fi, they get a little cranky, and so then these confidence and things like that go down. And that's all part of what you'll have to manage in this game. Where this game really stands out for me is in the dynamic environment. As you can see down here, these are the seasons that you're kind of living through, and this season we're currently in, season 91, is a drought. So this is a lake. You probably didn't notice, but this is a lake because it doesn't have any water in it. It's a drought. It's a massive drought. And so you have to deal with that for an entire season, and you can see our water is kind of dipping. Then, luckily, we've got a weather station, so we can actually see a little bit more detail of, okay, rain will be coming soon. But the thing here is that while you're holding out for rain, you might not be able to use that rain because it'll be all irradiated and toxic rain. And so the thing that you're hoping for most is going to kill you. So those are the kind of dynamics that you have to deal with over here. And so how do you deal with that? That's quite a big step from anything I've seen before in this kind of genre. Okay, so just to show you around a little, some of the interesting things we have is an irrigator over here that kind of moistens this area in the case of a drought. But bear in mind, it uses the same water your people use to drink. to kind of maintain some crops so that we have some food going on. We've got a cemetery over here where people have to kind of bury their dead, basically. So if you click on this person over here, they will say there's all kinds of things that kind of sort their confidence in you as a leader, basically. What is this? Glowing brighter than the sun. Settler achievement. Nice. I didn't even know there's settler achievements, but now you know, settler achievements. So here's things like if the settler has a newborn, the confidence rises. If the settler has electricity, food, water, all those kind of things. But also if there's no place to, no grave for anybody that's died, then these kind of things hit the thing. So you have tooling, clothing, education, all kinds of things that you have to deal with. This is our water setup over here. We've got a water tower that filters water and all these kind of things. We've got electricity poles. We've got a market that kind of distributes goods to our people as they need it. We've got a weather station that tells you whether or not the rain that's coming in is going to be bad or not. And so on and so on. And we've got foresters camps and depositories where you kind of have people deposit stuff that they kind of are working on, all these kind of things. Various types of houses, houses with water tanks, houses that's basic. You need to manage just so many things. Your population won't grow if you don't have houses, and people are not happy if they don't have houses. Here's my solar farms and my batteries to make sure that everybody has electricity and so on. So tons of stuff in here. I've got a hospital, well, medical facility, all these kind of things that you need to do to make sure people are happy. You've got your adult population here, your children. You've got a log, active log of what's happening. Patricia was born, things like that, people dying, tasks being finished, buildings being completed, all those kind of things is in the active log over here. There are some notifications, low water reserves, the number is red over there, you can see there comes some goals that comes in every now and again, and those kind of things are here. Here are the building menus. These are the various infrastructure pieces you can get for water. The various food infrastructure pieces, resources, scrapyards, foresters lodge, recyclers, workshops, tailors, herbal huts, charcoal burners, refinery, and I'm sure this stuff will still expand tons. Various types of houses, various types of community facilities. Ooh, I don't have a pub, I should still build a pub. Logistics, roads, depositories, markets, removing of roads, electricity. I'm sure things will get better. And then there's tasks like kind of remove trees over here and all those kind of things. Apart from building a surviving colony, there's also things like expeditions where you can send scouts and explore old ruins. And all in all, kind of a story that there is to build on. I think one of the things that I miss from other games is the fact that, or other similar games, is that the story isn't necessarily there. Here you can see some of the, let's click, zoom through here. Oh, there's some wind engine ruins over here, and greenhouse ruins, and storage halls, and it's really interesting. So fascinating to look around. But there's also things that you can come and explore with Scout, which I'm hoping will really expand the story of the game. Okay, so now you start seeing the dynamic environment a little bit. You can see all of a sudden it's gone really dusty. I'm struggling to irrigate, probably ran out of water over here, or the irrigator didn't get the water here. So this stuff is absolutely sere. You can put overlays on like, yeah, that's how dry it is out there. You can put the radiation overlay on. You can see there's a spot over there that's irradiated. Then you'll see when rain clouds form and rain returns to the valley, and you can go fishing and collect water from there, and the plants will start growing. But as you can see over here, we've covered our fields. Why did we do that? But it's covered because the weather station said it will be irradiated, so the fields are being covered and so on. But as you can see, really nice and dynamic. People have died, and so we're sending up little lanterns over here. Not good for the environment, but nice in the game. And so yeah, and it's day-night cycles. Oh, here comes the radiation. Now we've got an issue. You've got tasks like actually removing radiation and all kinds of things like that. So I can actually go here and say, guys, dig it out over there, and then we'll send the people to come here and dig it out. The game. Okay. So with that in mind, let's get back to our little town over here, and let's talk about what are the good things about this game, and the reasons that you should consider potentially buying this game. Well, the dynamic environment, I think, is absolutely unique when it comes to these kind of games. It's something different and interesting to play with and very challenging to deal with. So that is definitely a tick box for me in the right direction. It's a challenging game, okay, with so many elements, and as you can see, these complex resource chains and so on. It is really challenging to deal with and kind of to understand what the balance of those elements is, and it will take you at least a few playthroughs to kind of understand how to start balancing the right things in the right places. It is complex with many buildings, features and mechanics that you need to master. This is certainly not one of those where everything is just instinctive and easy. You are constantly trying to figure out at what point you need to move your focus from one thing to another. And make no mistake, you have to make these decisions and doing it all the time. You have no option of doing it. You just don't have the ability of getting people to do everything. It is a real challenge, very Banish style of assigning your settlers to various tasks and stuff. And and it's taken me a long time to get to somewhere where it works. It's like you have to shift it over this way and then that way. So it's really challenging and complex. The graphics, I think, look great, and the world you find yourself in is interesting and full of features. I constantly find myself looking around at what is actually going on. Like we just scroll down here a little bit. What is this? What was that? Ooh, what is happening over here? You constantly want to see kind of what's going on a little bit outside of your direct area over here. It reminds me a lot of something like Banish, as I've mentioned, but it has the makings of a story that I always wished Banish had. So while I don't necessarily think at the moment the story is fully developed or anything like that, it's definitely one of those things that they can kind of build on. It's got the makings of a story. We know why we're here. And so that kind of gives us a good vision of to why we're building what we're building, and might help you make your decisions. There is an active Discord for the game, and it looks like the devs are really keen to get feedback from the community in order to improve the game. That said, it is already very playable, and I did not experience any crashes or bugs in my first 20 hours of gameplay. In my opinion, it is in that perfect spot for early access. Stable gameplay with lots of room to expand the story, features and in-game assets. So with all those good things, are there any reasons you should perhaps not buy it or hold off on buying it? Well, in my opinion, not really. But here are a few things that could potentially be done a little bit better, and hopefully they will be done better in new releases as part of the early access. The backstory exists, but it doesn't feel like it is well developed, and it doesn't develop with the game. So I would have thought maybe some events and things trigger that helps you make decisions and so on. It would make this game come alive if you had to make decisions based on what you're trying to achieve with your colony. Those kind of things are not here yet. I don't see that in the story. I don't see the end game or anything like that. And quite rightly so, that's something that they can absolutely develop as part of early access. For me, management games, including colony builders, are all about the stats. And I think the game is a bit light on providing you with these stats in a useful manner. So I'll show you what I mean. If I go over here, you can see, this is a perfect example in my opinion. So I can see how much berries I currently have, how much I've produced this season, and how much I've consumed this season. And I can also see what's happened with last season, right? So I can see I consumed more berries than I've actually produced. But where it's not quite clear to me is where you get to the total of it. You don't necessarily need to eat berries every year, but you need food. So I would have thought a bit of a roll up into food or something like that would have been an interesting way of doing it. I can't seem to click it or get any other useful information. So graphs and things like that could have been quite nice. So, but again, one of those things that I think can quite easily be expanded upon, and maybe they are looking at it because I see graphs are coming. So hopefully it means that all kinds of foods and things like that will also be there. So again, hopefully it's just the early access. You can see it's still the closed beta. It's not even the early access version. So maybe that is still in the works, and we might see that soon. Because I would like to identify trends, so I can see, oh, my food is going down slowly, but I might still have a bit of a stockpile, so I can start making decisions of moving things over. So that's one of the things, better idea of that. And then one other thing that I've noticed, as you kind of develop, let's see, so you have to collect scrap, and scrap starts being further and further away as you collect it all, of course. So this guy over here, and then once you've collected that, you keep going further and further away. I would like to see a little bit more control over your settlers, because what tends to happen is as they go, they tend to just starve out there because it's too far away and they can't get back to food, even though there is food over here. So something like that feels a little silly to me. I mean, you should be able to have a backpack and carry food with you, or have kind of supply areas in between, or build something in between, or anything, just to be able to deal with that. So with that all said, should you get it? Well, for me, the answer here is really quite simple. If you enjoy survival-style colony builders like Banished or Ostriv and so on, with those complex colonies, then yes, you should get it. It is unique enough to offer a new experience. It is polished enough to offer real gameplay. It is challenging enough to offer replayability, even at this stage of early access. And finally, it has tons of potential in terms of expanding the story, adding features, and of course, allowing you to come back to it every few months for another go to see what is new and exciting. There you go. Now go out and enjoy Endzone. And remember to hit the like button if you found this useful, share it with someone that will find it useful, and subscribe to the channel if you'd like content like this. Also, as I mentioned earlier on, please feel free to join the Discord, where you're welcome to ask any questions that you may still have about this game and that I haven't covered. Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.